Respiration. Respiration is the process by which chemical energy in the organic compound is released by oxidation. This energy is made available to the living cells in the form of ATP. If it requires oxygen, it is referred as aerobic respiration, while in absence of oxygen, it is described as anaerobic respiration. Now you can say aerobic and anaerobic. This is aerobic is represented by this equation. C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives you 6 CO2, 6 water plus energy, and the other one is representing the anaerobic, that is incomplete oxidation resulting into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide and energy. Aerobic is in presence of oxygen, complete oxidation of food material, the end product is CO2, water plus energy and more energy. Anaerobic in absence of oxygen, incomplete oxidation of food material, end product is ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide energy and less energy is obtained. The anaerobic respiration and fermentation are analogous processes. The only difference is that anaerobic is intracellular and fermentation is extracellular. The respiratory substrate in an organic compound, it may be carbohydrate, fats and proteins, which is oxidized. On the basis of the type of respiratory substrate used by the organism, the respiration is divided into two types. Floating, where the respiratory substrate is carbohydrate or fat. Protoplasmic respiration, where respiratory substrate is a protoplasmic protein. Respiratory quotient, that is RQ. It is the ratio of volume of CO2 released to volume of O2 absorbed. RQ is equal to volume of CO2 evolved to that of oxygen consumed. The value of the RQ varies. It depends upon the type of respiratory substrate used. If carbohydrate is the respiratory substrate, invariably plants prefer carbohydrate as its respiratory substrate. You can say in this equation, the amount of carbon dioxide evolved is equal to the amount of oxygen consumed. So RQ is 6/6, that is unity. If fat or protein is the respiratory substrate, this is a fat. It is poor in oxygen, so you need more oxygen and correspondingly less evolution of carbon dioxide. So here the RQ will be less than 1. In case of organic acid, the respiratory substrate will be greater than 1 because organic acids are good source of oxygen. So less oxygen is consumed and more carbon dioxide is evolved, and RQ is greater than 1. Under anaerobic condition, the RQ will be infinity because no oxygen is taken in, but carbon dioxide is evolved. Mechanism of respiration. Aerobic respiration is completed in two phases, that is glycolysis and Krebs cycle, while in anaerobic only glycolysis takes place. The glycolysis is common in aerobic, anaerobic and fermentation, that is done by yeast and other microorganisms. Glycolysis, also called as Gustav Emden, Otto Meyerhoff and Parnas pathway, after the name of the three workers who worked out the details of glycolysis. It occurs in the cytosol of the living cells of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. During glycolysis, one molecule of glucose is converted into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. Now, we take the glycolysis, glucose. You can see ATP is converted into ADP. You get glucose 6-phosphate, magnesium ions are necessary, and enzyme is hexokinase. Then glucose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Enzyme will be phosphohexose isomerase because it's an isomeric form. And then another molecule of ATP will be consumed. ATP will be converted into ADP and you will get fructose 1,6 biphosphate. And here again magnesium ions are there and enzyme is phosphofructokinase. Now fructose 1,6 Biphosphate breaks up into two molecules of 3-carbon compound, that is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate 3-carbon compound and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. An enzyme will be aldolase, and this isomeric form is formed by the enzyme triose phosphate isomerase. Now this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate takes up the NAD, NAD gets reduced to NADH2, and you get 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid. Enzyme is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. It's dehydrogenase because transfer of hydrogen is there. Now 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid, it liberates the phosphate from first position, ADP is converted into ATP, and you get 3-phosphoglyceric acid, and magnesium ions are essential, and you have phosphoglyceric kinase. Then 3-phosphoglyceric acid is converted into 2-phosphoglyceric acid. Enzyme is phosphoglyceromutase, and 2-phosphoglyceric acid liberates water, and you get phosphoenol pyruvic acid. Enzyme is enolase, and phosphoenol pyruvic acid liberates the phosphate. ADP is converted into ATP, and you get pyruvic acid. An enzyme here also, since the transfer of phosphate is there, magnesium ions are necessary. An enzyme is pyruvic kinase. So from glucose, during the glycolysis, the pyruvic acid is formed. Though glycolysis is common both in aerobic and anaerobic respiration, but there is a difference with regard to net gain of ATP. Net gain of ATP in glycolysis during aerobic respiration. ATP consumed, one in reaction number 1 and one in reaction number 3, that comes to 2 ATP, and gain of ATP 2 in reaction number 7 and 2 ATP in reaction number 10. And in reaction number 6, 2 molecules of NAD gets reduced to NADH2, and each reduced NAD on oxidation gives energy equivalent to 3 ATP. Since 2 molecules are involved, so the gain in terms of ATP will be 6. So the net gain will be 6 plus 4 minus 2 comes to 8 ATP. Under aerobic condition, the net gain of ATP. ATP consumed, 1 in reaction number 1 and 1 in reaction number 3, 2 ATP. Now we are discussing under anaerobic conditions. And gain again the same, 2 in reaction number 7 and 2 in reaction number 10, that is 4 ATP. So the net gain will be 4 minus 2, that comes to 2 ATP. Now aerobic oxidation of pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid undergoes acetylation by oxidative decarboxylation to form acetyl coenzyme A. It's a 2-carbon compound. It is an irreversible reaction occurring in the matrix of the mitochondria. Acetyl coenzyme is the connecting link between glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Now let us take up the Krebs cycle. It was worked out by an English biochemist, Sir Hans Krebs. It is also called as citric acid cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle. Now we start with the Krebs cycle, pyruvic acid. Now pyruvic acid is converted into an unstable compound, that is acetyl coenzyme A. Here you will see NAD is reduced to NADH2 and CO2 is evolved. Then you have acetyl coenzyme A, the 2-carbon compound, and this 2-carbon compound combines with a 4-carbon compound, that is oxaloacetic acid, and gives you citric acid. Water molecule is used up, and you get a 6-carbon compound, citric acid, and coenzyme A is regenerated. This is a complex reaction. It requires thymine pyrophosphate, that is TPP, and lipoic acid. And The enzyme is citric synthetase. Now, citric acid, with the help of enzyme aconitase, is converted into cis-aconitic acid. Water molecule is evolved, and cis-aconitic acid consumes the water which is evolved in the earlier reaction and gives you isocitric acid. Enzyme is same, that is aconitase. Now, isocitric acid, it liberates its hydrogen. Hydrogen is accepted by NAD, gets reduced to NADH2, and naturally enzyme will be isocitric dehydrogenase, and the product is oxalosuccinic acid. Now, this oxalosuccinic acid, on this decarboxylase works, CO2 is evolved, and you get a 5-carbon compound, that is alpha ketoglutaric acid. Enzyme will be decarboxylase. Now, alpha ketoglutaric acid is, here again the coenzyme A is involved, and you get succinyl coenzyme A, 4-carbon compound. Here also NAD is reduced to NADH2 and a molecule of CO2 is evolved. Enzyme will be dehydrogenase and of course decarboxylase also, because CO2 is evolved. Now, succinyl coenzyme A gives you succinic acid. Coenzyme A is regenerated, and here you will see the water molecule is evolved, and GTP is the first to accept the phosphate, converted into GTP, and from GTP ADP takes up and is converted into ATP. Now, succinic acid to fumaric acid, the only reaction where FAD is the hydrogen acceptor and gives you FADH2, enzyme will be dehydrogenase, product is fumaric acid, and from fumaric acid to malic acid, water molecule is consumed here, and from malic acid to oxaloacetic acid, NAD is the hydrogen acceptor, gets reduced to NADH2, so naturally enzyme will be dehydrogenase. So that is how the Krebs cycle is operating. Now, aerobic oxidation of pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid undergoes acetylation by oxidative decarboxylation to form acetyl coenzyme A, 2-carbon compound. It is an irreversible reaction occurring in the matrix of the mitochondria. Acetyl coenzyme is the connecting link between glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Now, it was worked out by English biochemist Sir Hans Krebs. It is also called as citric acid cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle. In reaction number 1, 5, 7, and 11, the hydrogen acceptor is NAD and gets reduced to NADH plus H. Each reduced NAD on oxidation gives energy equivalent to 3 ATP. So the total comes to 4 into 3, that comes to 12 ATP. In reaction number 8, ADP is converted into ATP. So there is a gain of 1 ATP here. And in reaction number 9, the hydrogen acceptor is FAD, gets reduced to FADH2, and FADH2 on oxidation gives energy equivalent to 2 ATP. So, when one molecule of pyruvic acid gets oxidized through Krebs cycle, we get energy equivalent to 12 plus 1 plus 3, that comes to 15 ATP. Since 2 molecules of pyruvic acid are formed, so it comes to 15 into 2, that comes to 30 ATP in Krebs cycle. 8 ATP in glycolysis, the total comes to 38 ATP when one molecule of glucose is oxidized aerobically. Electron transport system. The final step of aerobic respiration is the oxidation of 10 molecules of NADH plus H and 2 molecules of FADH2 generated from a molecule of glucose. The oxygen from the atmosphere is utilized for the oxidation of reduced coenzymes and is referred as terminal oxidation, and is associated with ATP synthesis, which is called as oxidative phosphorylation. It operates in the inner membrane of mitochondria. It involves different enzymes and coenzymes which acts as hydrogen carrier and electron carrier. They are arranged according to their increasing positive potential. Now you can see with this animation Here you can see the movement. These are the protons. This is the FMN, NAD, succinate and fumarate, FAD, ubiquinone pool, then from here to ubiquinone pool, and from FAD also. And now again you have the 4 protons. Now comes the cytochrome B, from here to cytochrome B to cytochrome C1, then to cytochrome C. These protons are moving. This is earlier was complex 1, this is complex 2. From cytochrome C to again cytochrome C, then comes the cytochrome A, and finally the cytochrome A3. And here you can see half oxygen and 2 protons forms the water molecule. And this is the F1, F0 particle, where you will see inorganic phosphate combines with ADP to give you ATP. That is how you have the mitochondrial matrix, the intermitochondrial membrane and inner membrane space, where these electron transport complex or chain is working. This is the complex 5. The substrate releases its hydrogen and gets oxidized. The hydrogen is accepted by NAD and gets reduced to NADH. The hydrogen from NADH is transferred to coenzyme Q via flavin mononucleotide, and coenzyme Q liberates protons and electrons onwards. Only the electrons enter the ETS and the protons are released to cytochrome A3. From cytochrome A3, the electrons are finally donated to molecular oxygen. Oxygen receives 2 protons directly from the aqueous medium to form the water molecule that is called metabolic water. You can see here 2 protons, 2 electrons for half molecule of oxygen, and the water is formed. Now you can see this animation. Ubiquinone is a mobile carrier. Electrons are moving from cytochrome C, cytochrome oxidase enzyme, and you can see these are the water molecule, and of course this is the machinery for the synthesis of ATP. Now you can see the overall glucose to pyruvate 2 molecules, glycolysis, then ATP again, then 2 molecules of acetyl coenzyme A entering the Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle. You can see 4 CO2 and ATP is released, and 2 CO2 here. Now you can see reduced form of NADH again, and then the FAD H2. Now they on oxidation gives you energy equivalent to, you can see 4 or 6, 18, 4, ATP, 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 and the ATP. Now this is the electron transport chain. Now 6O2 gives you 6 molecules of water. This is how it is operating, the outline. Now yield is 4 ATP plus 32 or 34 ATP So the net gain of ATP is 36 in eukaryotes because of glycerol phosphate shunt, and 38 ATP in prokaryotes because glycerol phosphate shunt is not operating there. Oxidative phosphorylation. The energy released during the oxidation of reduced coenzymes and terminal oxidation is utilized in the synthesis of ATP, and this process is called oxidative phosphorylation. Peter Michael in 1961 gave chemiosmotic hypothesis to explain the synthesis of ATP. ATP synthesis involves two steps. Oxidative phosphorylation, number one, creation of proton motive force or H gradient. The flow of electrons from dual proton electron carrier to a carrier which entertain only the electrons. The hydrogen ions are released and expelled into the intermembrane space. It creates a proton gradient with higher concentration of H ion in the intermembrane space than the matrix of the mitochondria. The sum of proton gradient concentration and the membrane electric potential is called as proton motive force. Number two, proton flow. Due to the proton motive force, the protons flow back by active transport from outer chamber to inner chamber, that is matrix, through proton channels present in the oxysomes. The energy liberated during this backflow of protons activates ATPase present in the F1 head, that is a part of oxysome, to synthesize ATP from ADP and the inorganic phosphate. Return of three pairs of electrons back into inner chamber will generate 3 ATP. Now we are going to discuss pentose phosphate pathway. This is an alternative pathway for the oxidation of food material. Plants neither undergoing glycolysis nor Krebs cycle will undertake this pathway, and it is called as Warburg-Lipman-Dickens cycle. It is an alternative method for aerobic respiration which occurs in the cytoplasm of mature cell. It accounts for about 60% of the total respiration in the liver cells. In this, for every 6 molecules of glucose, 1 molecule is completely oxidized to carbon dioxide and reduced coenzymes, while 5 molecules are regenerated. And this is the representation of pentose phosphate pathway. You can see you are getting, starting with glucose 6-phosphate, 6 molecules, 6 carbon compounds, and through the whole cycle, 1 molecule gets oxidized, and in the last, you are getting fructose 6-phosphate, 2 plus 2 plus 1, that is 1 molecule gets oxidized.